had a couple of things I wanted to talk about this week, but there was somebody's comment that got my attention, and I can't really respond to everything on a personal level because I don't know the situation, but I found it kind of concerning, but also something I could relate to because I've been in that position before in AA. Now, I'm not going to necessarily commit the fallacy of trying to act like I understand totally where you're coming from because I do not. But I'm just going to, well, I'll just start talking and we'll see where we go with this. By the way, there's a storm, it looks like approaching outside. So if I suddenly blink out, it will. It'll be because the power is about to go out or something like that. We haven't had rain here in a very long time. It'll be interesting to see how bad this is going to be. But if you hear any thunder or anything like that, it's not the call of the gods coming in through the video. It's just regular natural weather phenomenon. But anyway, the person had left me a comment about late last night, and they were talking about how they were regretting the fact that they had joined AA, that they'd only been in AA 2 months, and that they were really feeling emotionally distraught about it, that they were going home even more depressed than they were before they went there, that they thought it was a mistake to join AA. But there was a couple of points that I kind of wanted to address because they said they would like to be as enlightened and as happy as those people in the rooms. And they said that they didn't feel like they had any wisdom to offer. You see why this would be concerning to me already, I'm sure. In that they would like to leave, but they don't want to hurt their sponsor, and they're afraid they're going to drink again. All right, lot to unpack in that particular statement alone. And like I said, I don't know your situation. I don't know what's going on, but I can tell you that there is no wisdom in AA, and those people are putting on. I'm going to make a good educated guess based on my 11 years of going to AA and the testimony of all the other people on here, and AA Horror Stories, 13 Step to Film, and many others. The 13-step horror stories, I don't know if those are still available online, but there used to be 3 volumes of them. I can use the Carla Breda murder case as some of these as evidence to support my claim, but in my 11 years in AA, and for those of you who are familiar with what I talk about on here week by week, some of my points are going to be kind of a reiteration of things I've already covered, but I kind of feel it's necessary to touch on that again, given that comment, because in my 11 years of AA, I never encountered any wisdom. I never encountered any serenity. I never encountered anything that made me believe or made me look at AA as having any kind of magical solution to any of it. One horrible lesson I learned in AA during all my time there is that you can sit right next to someone for a long period of time, like the sponsor that I ended up living with, my very last sponsor, the one that I have talked about on here before as being the most garbage human being that ever walked the planet. And I've only given you little tidbits and pieces of what kind of a person he was. But I sat next to that guy for a few years, talked to him before and after meetings, and I realized very quickly when I was living in his garage that I didn't know him at all. That happened to me not just with him, but with several people in AA. There were several people that I saw that you could see day in and day out and listen to them talk and listen to them share. And after a while, you begin to see through their facades and their phony bullshit. But at the same time, any entertaining idea I might have had about these people that they were, that maybe they were just lonely, insecure people that was trying to fill a void by going to AA meetings, I found out when I got to know them on a personal level, because living in somebody's garage who hung out with AA people all day long, I got to see what they were really like. I got to see their true faces. And I began to see that this was very much, like I've talked about in other videos, this was very much a performance. These were shady people, these were garbage people, these were horrible people. These were horrible people that seemed to get their rocks off of other people's misery. And I don't think that, I'm not trying to commit a logical fallacy of saying, since I saw it like that, that's the way it is everywhere. But it's just funny how many overwhelming testimonies I hear from people all over, and not just in my own channel, and not just online, but in other places, of similar experiences. Not to mention, there was a strong body of evidence. As a matter of fact, I was thinking about. I don't have the article in front of me, but there was an article in the Orange Paper's website where the guy had mentioned there was this woman who brutally stabbed her husband to death, and then afterward did. I'm not going to go into detail, so I don't need to provide trigger warnings, hopefully, but did some very, very gruesome things afterwards. So much so that that person was placed in a mental institution, but later on found to be sane enough to go to prison at trial or whatever it was. I don't remember all the details, but that person managed to get an early release. And that person, part of the condition of that person's early release was attending AA meetings. And later on, in another article, when they were still on parole, she was talking about how much she loved AA meetings, how much she felt AA meetings was making a difference in her life. Now, I'm only using one example of thousands, literally hundreds of thousands. I don't have time to. If I started telling you every headline I've seen about AA gurus committing crimes or people getting murdered at AA meetings or other even worse things, I'd have a marathon, 80-hour session here, and I still would only be scratching the surface. And I'm using this example, this one extreme example, to illustrate a point. This person liked AA. This person felt they got a lot out of AA, and I'm willing to bet that person is popular in AA. I'm willing to bet that that person sponsors people in AA. I'm willing to bet that that person is telling people who are struggling with alcohol addiction what they need to do in their lives. When that person, from all I could find in the article, did not have any problem with substance abuse whatsoever. The person who murdered Carla Breda, this is another case in point, didn't seem to have any interest in quitting drinking or anything else. He just simply liked to go to AA meetings. He had been going to AA meetings for a long time. He knew how to say all the right things. He knew how to share all the right things. Appearances are very, very deceiving in AA, and I think that's one lesson. If there's anything I could actually say that I actually took home from AA, of any value or any worth, is that you can be beside someone a lot, around them daily, hear them talking, see them behaving a certain way, and you can come to find out that you don't know them at all, that they're completely 100% opposite. The guy whose garage I lived in, at meetings, he put on this gentle, kind, loving, I love everybody kind of attitude, and man, in real life, he was an utter piece of fucking shit. I mean, that's putting it nicely if you knew all the things he was involved in. So, to address one of the first points in that comment, those people aren't serene, and you shouldn't take it at their word that they're serene or wise or anything else. There is no evidence that AA does anything for you, that those steps turn you into anything like some wise spiritual guru or something like that. There is zero evidence for that. Probably because AA cannot even demonstrate what it asserts. And what I mean by that is AA claims that you are irreparably broken, irreparably damaged, beyond all human aid, without an imaginary higher power that you somehow get in contact with through doing those 12 steps and sitting in those meetings for the rest of your life. There is zero evidence for any of that. But I understand what it feels like, but although I would say I'm a little bit concerned that, and I don't want to talk directly to you, I don't want to make you uncomfortable in this video, but it was just concerning to me to hear somebody saying I'm already feeling 10 times more depressed and I'm 2 months in already. I mean, my first year in AA, when I still had some religious thought in my background, and I still had some religious baggage, my first year in AA was actually pretty good. I actually thought I had found a home. I thought I had found the right place. I thought I had found a place that was going to solve all my problems. And it was then that I began to notice things that weren't adding up, things that weren't panning out. It was a long time later that I began to see the fallacies in the literature, how the literature wasn't logical. Believe it or not, if I hadn't ended up with those multiple DUIs and ended up living in somebody's garage, working half-assed day jobs with temp agencies that paid you cash for construction work, I probably would not have learned as much as I did because I had a library nearby me and I could sit in there and read. I didn't know what a logical fallacy was when I first got to AA. I didn't understand a lot of those things. It was but I knew something was wrong. I knew that the things they were saying didn't add up. I knew that the assertions they were making did not make sense. But I didn't know how to identify them. I didn't know how to take them apart. I didn't know how to construct a syllogism. I didn't know what a truth table was. I didn't know a lot of different philosophers and a lot of different methods, and I didn't know a lot of those things. I learned those things kind of on my own. As someone pointed out, and I mean, it's not a point of nothing to really brag about or anything, but I'm largely self-educated. I've had people comment on this video and say you must be a college graduate or something. No, actually I'm not. I'm a guy who has too much time on his hands and he likes to read too much. But if you're already, to get back to my original point, if you're just a couple of months in and you're already feeling more depressed than ever, and you're saying that it's making you feel even worse, and the only thing keeping you there is fear of hurting your spouse's feelings, as you put it, and I said I wasn't going to talk to you directly, but I guess I am. I'm going to say that I believe totally it would be in your best interest to leave. But therefore, again, and I want to clarify this because there's something that a lot of people don't realize about AA in general. You know, AA defenders will say something like, "Oh, you can leave anytime you want to. The door is right there." That's not really true, is it? It's not really true when it's beat into your head on a daily basis that the only option for you is AA, jails, institutions of death, or dying drunk. When they put you in that position, and then there is the fact that a lot of people, myself included, when I first got to AA, I'm not in that situation any longer. But the pressure from your own family, the pressure from your employers, the pressure from friends, and everybody else is also insurmountable. I mean, there was a lot of people when I was new to AA, if I'd have had some kind of idea about logical fallacies, if I'd have had the information that is available at my fingertips now that wasn't available back then because the internet wasn't what it is now, if I had had that information available to me and I had gone home, I don't know if you hear the thunder coming through, but if I had gone home and I had told my family or, whoever, I had to say, you know what, this program's a religion. This program is a cult religion. This program's not rational. This program has a lot wrong with it. I guarantee you the first answer out of everybody's mouth would have been, that's not what's going on. You just don't want to stop drinking. You don't want to stop drinking, but we're telling you right now, you either stop drinking or your ass is out. It's over. It's over. You either do this or else. People don't realize the societal pressure that keeps people there. To kind of point out an example, I saw one of those assholes that, and I do call them assholes because I don't think they believe half the political shit they spout on YouTube, but I saw one of them saying people shouldn't be allowed to divorce. And when they were asked, what about women trapped in abusive marriages, he said, they could just leave. Like, that's so easy. Like, you could just walk out of a home just like that in the middle of the night without, with no bank accounts maybe, or maybe even if you do have a bank account, you don't have no way to just move into a home. You don't have no friends to rely on. You don't have any of those things. You could just walk out the door down the sidewalk and boom, just like that. A new life will start for you. Well, it's the same thing in AA. AA puts this pressure on people, and society puts this pressure on people to stay in AA, that AA is the only way. And there's a really sad downside to the way society operates today, and I do fault AA for some of this, is that if you have an addiction, if you're addicted to alcohol, to drugs, that you have committed some kind of crime in your concerns and your the things that worry you, the things that you're concerned about, the things that make you a thinking agent and a human being and who you are, that's no longer valid. I began to notice that a little bit in AA when they started all that, look at your part in it and all that other kind of shit. But I began to notice on a grander scale in society, if you committed the unforgivable sin of drinking too much, getting addicted to drinking, getting addicted to drugs, getting addicted to anything like that, it's kind of a stigma. It's kind of a scarlet letter stamped on you, like the old Nathaniel Hawthorne story. You're kind of an outcast. You're kind of treated like you deserved whatever happened to you because you allowed yourself to get addicted. It's a shitty way to operate, and it's a shitty way society functions on this level. But I have noticed that, and that pressure is immense when you're kind of stuck in a cult religion. You're thinking to yourself, and I'm not trying to project on to the person I'm talking to in this video. I'm kind of just trying to talk about how I felt. When I'm saying you, I'm not talking to you personally. I'm addressing it as the way I felt. There was all this pressure from society. There was all this pressure from family. There was all this pressure in AA. If you leave us, you go back out there. And if you go back out there, we can't guarantee your safety. Why, you could be in jail. You could be in institutions. You could be dead. You could be all those other things. And then you got the outside world out here that's saying, well, There's nothing wrong with AA. It's just you, the sick fucking alcoholic who let themselves get addicted. But it's all you, because your opinions, your feelings, your emotions, they don't matter because you let yourself get addicted. That's literally how it felt for me. So yeah, it's not as easy to just up and walk out of an AA meeting and never go back, as some people seem to think, or in other words, I'm not trying to tell people on here who are struggling to leave AA, well, why don't you just leave? Because I know what that struggle is like. I was there. It's why I make these videos. I know what it's like to know that the program is full of shit, to know the people are full of shit, to know the program is not even realistic or logical or based on any kind of empirical data whatsoever, and to still be unable to walk out that door, to still be unable to leave. It's like an abusive relationship where there's just some part of you that can't help but feel programmed and indoctrinated enough to feel like, well, what if they are right? What if on deep down on some level they're right? What if I walk out this door and I booze myself to death? Don't know if you hear the thunder. It's like an intro for a horror movie, if you can hear it. But it's one of the reasons, that I do this channel, because I do understand that. I relate to that, and I would spare anybody the horror that I went through for those 11 years of it. I would do this if nobody was watching. I would do this if I had no subscribers in the hope of picking up, hope of getting the message to somebody. I believe wholeheartedly in what I'm doing. I've had AA people say, you're just trying to get a bunch of clicks. No, if I wanted to get a bunch of clicks, I would talk AA bullshit. If I wanted to get a bunch of clicks and make money off YouTube, I would talk program shit. I'm sure there are rehabs that would be more than happy to let me come on there and grin and smile in my fucking face and say, I'd like to thank this rehab center for helping make this video possible. They saved my life. Even though that's bullshit. I do this because I wholeheartedly believe in what I'm doing. I do this wholeheartedly because I know how insidious this cult is. So I would advise anybody who's struggling, anybody who's feeling worsening in their mental health, to try to think about breaking away from AA and walking away from it, even if your family doesn't understand it. It's your life. It's the only life you're ever going to get. I wished I had realized that sooner in life. My whole entire life, I had people ramming this collectivist bullshit down my throat, telling me, think about other people, think about other people, think about other people. Well, you know what? Fuck the other people. The other people was more than happy to step over me when I was drunk in the street, in a gutter somewhere. They were more than happy to take a piss on me and say, well, you're just going to die because you can't get honest. Now, this is the only life that I can 100% guarantee with some certainty. This is the only life I'm ever going to get. And in November, I'm going to be 47 years old. After having people abuse me and treat me like shit and gaslight me most of my existence, telling me that I need to be considerate of everybody else, I'm kind of living for me. Not in a psychopathic kind of, I'm going to fuck everybody over and steal from everybody, but I think it's pretty obvious what I'm saying. I don't need to clarify that. But you don't have to stay in an abusive relationship that's making your life more miserable than you may be already feeling. You don't have to do that. I can say with 100% certainty, because I'm speaking directly to you from personal experience here, I was in AA for 11 years and I could not stop drinking. I could not stop. I could not stop going to liquor stores. I could not stop boozing. I could not stop going on drunken benders. I could not stop getting off work when I had jobs and saying, I got to get to a fucking liquor store. I couldn't stop doing that. And leaving AA and having been out of AA, I've been able to successfully stop doing that. Because I realized I wasn't powerless. I realized I didn't need a God. I realized I didn't need a step program. I realized I didn't need none of that shit. Okay, I just needed the one thing that it seemed like all the society and it seemed like AA and everybody else was determined to tell me I couldn't do. And that was, I needed to believe in myself. I needed to accomplish things for myself and prove to myself these things. Not go around saying I'm sick, I'm useless, I'm character defects, I'm self-will run riot, and unless I bow and scrape at the old-timers' feet for the rest of my fucking existence, I'll never get sober. I didn't need that. I needed the opposite of that. Seemed like I kind of wandered a little bit off topic there, but I hope if you are struggling in AA and you're wanting to walk away from it, and you're finding that you're uneasy walking away from it, that's okay too. That's, I guess, my overall message here. I understand what that's like. when I knew the whole thing was bullshit, I was still having difficulty walking out that door and leaving it. I was still having difficulty, even though I knew it was crap. You know, I talked then here one time about my suicide attempt, and I didn't cover enough ground as just to how much fun I got made of when ended up back in AA after all that. I mean, I got made fun of, mocked, and laughed at, and I still kept going. I mean, there's a deep animosity in me that is not going to go away towards AA. I live a fairly normal existence today. I don't necessarily wake up in the morning just obsessing about how much I hate the program and things like that, but there's a part of me that experienced so much trauma and so much pain and so much misery at the hands of that fucking cult that I intend to keep putting this message out here, you know, for as long as I can come up with topics to talk about. But I hope if you're watching this and you're struggling with AA or you want to leave AA or whatever is going on with you, I hope you understand that you can do that. You can successfully walk away from AA and you can successfully stop drinking yourself to death. You're not going to die if you leave AA. It is not jails, institutions of death on the other side. There's a lot of people who could personally attest to that very same thing, who have left AA and didn't go back to drinking and drugging themselves into oblivion. It's not jails or institutions of death. It's a lot more freeing and a lot more satisfying on the other side, free from AA. And I don't know if I think I tried to talk about like 8 different things at once on here, and yeah, I kind of fucked it all up. Plus, I got a thunderstorm coming after me, so Hammer of the Gods, you know, Thor. See you guys next week. I have some other topics that I said I wanted to talk about, and hopefully I get to those next week. But do keep those comments coming, because they give me so much food for thought. Appreciate all you guys. Next time.